This is Retirement Roadmap Radio with Mark Fricks from Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Retirement Roadmap Radio with your host, Mark Fricks.
Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of Retirement Roadmap Radio with me, Mark Fricks, your host, and joining us today, as almost always, Mr. Tony Shore. And let's go ahead and check in with Tony and see how he's doing on this fine morning. Tony?
I am so good it hurts, Mark. I've said it before, I'll say it again. No, I'm doing great. It's great to be here with you. This is fun. We've got a great show lined up. You've got a lot of great information. I've got a lot of questions, which I hope are good questions.
And
we'll
great
find
comebacks.
Well, I have hopefully some good comebacks. You're the one with the quick wit and all the information. I'm just here for my good looks and charm, I think.
You're like the wall when you're playing racquetball, right? I don't know why that popped into my head.
No, you're the one that we bounce things off of, right?
That's true,
no,
too.
oh, that's probably me. Well, I've been great. I've had a great holiday season so far. We're still in the thick of it. How about you? What have you been up to, Mark? Are you keeping busy?
Yeah. I did take a few days off around Thanksgiving, which was really nice.
That's
really just
nice.
chilled and spent time with friends and family. So that was really, really good. It's as I've said before, fall is probably our busiest time, second only to spring. But so we've been hitting it pretty hard since August. So it was good to kind of slow down. And really, the month of December tends to be a little bit slower, not much, but I think people get busy with the holidays. And like last week, I had a full week, and I ended up with like four reschedules. Just because people have things come up and
Oh, sure.
out of town people come into town, and so it's fine. It's just that season, and then in January suddenly we'll get swamped again. So it's I can't stay swamped all the time. I would wear myself out. I really would.
Right.
I mean, as much as I love doing this, you've got to have time for yourself. So.
I know fall is a very busy time for you, and then it slows down a bit around the holidays, and then it picks way back up after the first of the year because people are like, hey, wait a minute. Did I get everything taken care of last year I should? And what about looking ahead for the new year and taxes, everything? So
sometimes it's those New Year's resolutions. Hey, but I've been meaning to do this, and it's kind of their goal or whatever. So we get kind of an onslaught in January, February of that type of thing too. So.
Sure.
But it's always good. I mean, it's really, you know how much I love meeting new people and hearing new stories. I mean, anybody that comes to see us has their own story, their own set of problems, their own victories, their own defeats. Right. And everybody says, I wish I had come to see you earlier. I've never had anybody say, I am glad I waited.
I've said that to you. I wish I had known the things you talk about on the show when I was younger, so I could have started earlier, started saving, things like that. Well, here's another thing people wish they did is make the right decision or start working with a financial services professional sooner rather than later. So explain what we're talking about on the show today.
Yeah, we're going to kind of get back to basics of how to find the right financial professional. We're going to talk about first, what is the right one for you? What are you looking for? And then how do you find that person? And so we're going to talk about that today. I think it'll be helpful. We've not talked about this in quite a while. Yeah. And so if you are thinking about, hey, the end of the year's coming, I need to get some help, this hopefully will help you out a little bit.
Right.
So,
Well, and a lot of people out there, you don't want to just make a quick or snap decision about who you work with financially. And I have a little clip for our listeners that they might enjoy to introduce us to this topic.
I'll give you $100 if you don't play it.
I don't know if I'd ever see that. So here you go.
Hello, Mrs. Farnickel. How are you today? Making a deposit, are we? Great. We can just put that into your retirement account and make it go to work for you, and it's gone.
What?
Sorry, yeah, that's gone. Please step aside for people who actually have money with the bank. Next, please.
So you don't want to be Mrs. Farnickle, and and it's gone.
And it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, there's your neighbor will say, "Oh, you should do this or invest this," or a stockbroker will say, "Let's put it all in these stocks," or your bank will say, "Oh, we'll invest that for you." But you really need to work with a trusted financial services professional, right? And you need to do your due diligence.
Oh, kind of like crypto, right? And now it's gone.
And it's gone. That's really crypto. Yeah, and it's gone.
Especially what FTX? Is that what?
Yeah, FTX, that guy.
No,
How do you lose
it's gone.
$32 billion overnight?
Wow.
Basically, they lost $32 billion overnight. It's
I lost
like,
a $5 bill last week, and it drove me crazy. I can't imagine $32 billion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's in just a bit of trouble, just a spot of trouble over there. Yeah. I mean, and that's what you get that's just an unproven format, and you can't take that kind of risk.
Yeah, and they started coming out with some ETF cryptos, and I still am not comfortable. I'll have a few clients that ask me about it, and I'm saying, if you've got money you don't mind losing, it's kind of like buying a penny stock. Go ahead, but if it's your retirement, don't. If that's what you've got to retire on, don't do crypto. But if you got extra money and you are willing to lose it, I'm not saying you will lose it. I'm just saying if you're willing to lose it, fine. I mean, I've bought a couple just so I know how it worked, but that is not my main source of investing for sure. So.
Oh, definitely.
And Warren Buffett doesn't
everybody's
like
situation is different.
Yeah,
so.
if Warren Buffett doesn't like it, then it can't be good, right? So.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah. Warren seems to know what he's doing most of the time, but nobody has a crystal ball, and that is a really volatile area. But I wanted to play that clip because I thought it was hilarious. And it's gone.
And it's gone. That's right.
I like that one.
Oh, so anyway, about finding a financial professional. So first of all, we want to talk about what are you looking for, and what I mean by that is if it's a true financial professional, they don't try to be everything to everybody. It's kind of like when I was looking for a new doctor a few years back. I was getting into my 50s, and I had this general practitioner for years, and I asked, I need an internal specialist that deals with aging and that type. Not that I'm getting old, just aging process and such. And so I actually went to about 4 doctors because I wanted a doctor I would be with from now on.
Right.
My next 30 years or whatever I might have left here on this great earth. And so I would go in, and while they were asking me questions and I was filling out history, I was asking them questions. So I knew what kind of doctor I wanted. I wanted an internal specialist. And so that's kind of the same thing with financial professionals. Do you want somebody that's just going to invest money? Do you want somebody that deals, maybe in college planning? Maybe you get kids getting close to college. Or you're looking for somebody that works with, 30 and 40-year-olds that really are accumulating. Or you're looking for if you go find somebody that says they do it all, that means they don't do any of it well. Okay, and so understand first what you're looking for, and so I know in our business we are retirement consultants. We are retirement specialists. So we work almost exclusively. I say almost because we do work with some of our clients' kids, but almost exclusively with 50 and older, middle to upper middle class, people that have done a good job. They've had a 401k for 35 years or been a business owner. They've socked away some money, and now they need to make sure it lasts a lifetime in retirement. So that's kind of us. And so, we'll talk more about what all that encompasses later. But first, know what you're looking for, and when you think about it, if you're 35 years old, it's not that difficult. It's mostly about being, what's the word? Being disciplined, really, at that age, and being able to pay yourself first. And what I mean by that is put money away first. Have it come out of your paycheck before you see it. If you get a raise, don't raise your standard of living. Put some of that away, at least some of that. At least what your company matches, and maybe more. Look at doing some IRA, 401k, and some Roth. Have some of both going. And then probably some life insurance if you have kids or a spouse. So it's pretty basic. And then if you start thinking about college planning, moving into that arena, if you have kids that are, course, the earlier the better. If they're just born or whatever. And so that's kind of an area. That's an area of expertise. And that's what you have to decide first. I decided what kind of doctor I wanted, what their specialty was, and so that's kind of the same thing with finding financial professionals. What are you looking for?
Yeah, true. And I mean, obviously, there are a lot of important things that you need to look for and ask, and I know we're going to get into a few of those today, but you're right. You need somebody, I think, that's a financial services professional that looks at the big picture, that takes a holistic approach. You need somebody who, because the problem I see here, Mark, and I want to know what you think of this is, out there are a lot of people who call themselves financial professionals or financial planners. Planners. So you might go to one and they're a broker and they just deal with stocks in the markets. Right. So stocks and bonds are all they're going to be able to do for you. They're not going to help you with Social Security or long-term care planning or any of the other myriad of issues, or they're not going to take into account inflation. They're just investing your money. Then on the other end, you have somebody who just sells insurance. That's all they're doing. They might be able to sell you an annuity or a policy that can help you with a couple of the things you'll need for retirement, but they're, again, not looking at the big picture. They don't know about risk tolerance and making sure that the overall picture is balanced. So you really need somebody who has a holistic approach, right?
Well, if that's what you're looking for, like you said, if you're just looking for somebody to buy some life insurance from, then go to your local agent. But
sure.
Again, it comes back to what you're looking for. And, a lot of times I'll ask folks when they come to see us, and they'll say, well, I'm working with a broker at the bank or a planner at, one of these shops that I won't mention any names. And
sure.
And I'll say, I'll say, why haven't you, okay, so-and-so, you're 52. Why haven't you taken that next step into working with somebody that looks at your overall retirement? And a lot of times I'll hear things like, I didn't know you guys existed. I didn't know that was a thing. Yep.
Exactly.
I've always worked with a guy at Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Schwab or Edward Jones, whatever, and they just invested my money. And I think the way to figure out if you're working with a retirement consultant is to ask a couple of key questions. If you're already with somebody, say, hey, can you help me decide when to take Social Security? And a lot of times they'll say, we don't do that. Can you help me look at my tax situation and how I can cut taxes this year, next year, and in retirement? We don't really do that. Or, well, here's some software I'll throw at you. Can you help me decide how to leave a legacy? We're just going to grow your money or whatever. So that's some key questions if you're already with somebody to understand, have you graduated to a retirement consultant that, like you mentioned earlier, Tony, that takes a holistic approach that looks at everything. And I could go through a list of the things we do, and you've already mentioned a couple of things, from legacy planning to tax planning, Social Security maximization, pension maximization, growing money, but also protecting some of your money, hedging some money, because in retirement, Tony, you get a 40% drop in the market or in your account, you're not retiring anytime soon. That's a long way to recover from. So there's some protection going on as well as some growth. And in all these different areas that come together, there are 15 things that can go wrong in retirement that could affect your retirement. And so out of those 15, maybe 8 affect you or 9 affect the next person. So it's not always all 15, but there are 15 areas that could trip you up in retirement. And
sure.
So if you're working with somebody that doesn't understand that, then you're not working with a retirement consultant. Also,
right.
If you go in to meet with somebody and the first thing they want to do is look at your statements, that's not a planner. That's a taker. They want to take your money and it's gone or whatever. No, not really.
And it's gone.
But so that's I don't see statements till usually the third meeting. We've already begun discussing what's important, what goals do you have, where have you been, where do you want to go, what do you see yourself doing in retirement? We have a lot of discussions about how you're going to fill your time. You've been spending 40 hours plus a week working toward goals, in your job, and now you're going to be with nothing. And so what are you doing? Are you going to be fishing 12 hours a day, playing golf 6 hours a day, starting your own business. Lots of discussions about this kind of thing, because I've seen people retire, and if they don't have a purpose, if they don't have some goals and purpose, they die. I mean, they'll come in and 6 months later and they look like they've aged 12 years. It's amazing the difference sometimes I see. Whereas other people are just, they're active and they're traveling, they're doing grandkid stuff, they're volunteering at a charity or their church. They got things, writing their book they've always wanted to write. It's so important, and it's just, I've seen it over and over again. As I've told you, my new book, which will be out any year now, is about that transition into retirement and what happens. And so I think it's going to be probably movie worthy. I don't know. So, I think Tom Cruise, would probably play me. But you're laughing a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's keep dreaming.
So anyway, so that's kind of, I think, the first segment of today's show is what are you looking for, and are you ready to graduate to a true retirement consultant?
Yeah, there you go. Well, and that's hugely important to understand the differences, because a lot of people use that financial planning term, but are they really a full retirement planner who can give you a written retirement plan that is going to take in, like you said, the balance between risk and safety? How are you balanced there? And everybody's situation is different. I like how you pointed that out again, and that's something you're always, trying to drive that message home each and every show. Everybody's situation is different. We need you to come in and look, and in those initial consultations, it's not like there's any charge. You meet with people, see where they're at, let them know how you can help, and then if it's a good fit, if they like you, you like them, and the situation is a good fit, then you can move on from there. I think that's a great way to do it. And I know that as far as people are also, cost is another thing people are afraid of when it comes to financial planners, right? I mean, they're concerned about, what is this going to cost me?
Yeah, and that should be something that's very upfront at the very beginning.
Transparent.
Yes. And, of course, we being fiduciaries, any investing we do is strictly fee-based. And our planning is fee-based. And so you don't get charged every time we make a trade a commission. You don't get charged a trading cost. It's strictly based on the size of the account, which kind of puts us in the same boat. If your account grows, we make a little bit more money, you have more money, everybody's happy, and the fee is right there on the statement. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to go through a prospectus. It's right there,
That's
so
huge.
That's big. And of course, being a fiduciary, we are required by our license to act in the best interest of our clients. Not everybody has that license. It's getting better. Some of the laws are changing, but it's still a little bit of a problem with commission-based
So that's
brokers.
a good question people should ask if they're going to choose a financial professional, so they don't hear those horrific words and it's gone. They need to ask if they're a fiduciary when they meet with and choose a financial professional to work with for retirement planning and income planning and financial planning. That would be a good question to ask then. Are you a fiduciary? Which means they have a legal responsibility to do what's in their client's best interest.
That's one of the first questions I would ask before I even set up a meeting on the phone. Hey, I want to see you, but are you a fiduciary? That's so important. That's huge. I think what gives us good strength as a company is that we're not a big box vendor where you may have somebody different every 3 years. We are a family-owned, generational business with levels of family. Now, we're not all family here. We have employees that aren't family, but what I'm saying is we've got 2 generations already working here. A third one's coming up. And we know everybody, our clients on a personal level. We do events. We have a Christmas party coming up here in a few weeks, and we'll have 200 people there. And we have smaller events where we get together with what they're interested in, so we get to know them on a personal level.
So you have these client events, and that's huge. Yeah, and the big box financial planning companies you see in strip malls and things, and the bigger names you see advertised on TV, typically they have their own products they're pushing. They're not looking at everything. They're only looking at a set number of things that company provides. And like you say, there's a lot of turnover. There are a lot of young people working in those regional offices, and there's turnover there. You're not working with an independent financial firm that can look at all the options out there. You're not beholden to one insurance company or one investment company. You really work with a number of folks across the board and have choices. Plus, you're going to be there. You have a succession plan for the business in place.
Yeah, and, people, when they hire us or become part of what we call the master plan family, they, many times they'll say, well, Mark, what if something happens to you? Well, eventually something will happen to me, okay? But we have, my son is an up-and-coming advisor learning what we do. I've got 2 daughters that work here that are learning the business and have different skill sets to help drive the business for the next generation. And so our methods will continue. And they've got relationships with our clients too, so our clients already know them. And so, if I get hit by a truck tomorrow, it just keeps going, So it's not. And by the way, they'll say, well, when are you retiring? I'm not. I'll keep working. I may work less. I may work only with my existing clients. Who knows? We haven't figured that out yet. I'm not ready to cut back for a while.
Right.
But this is.
As long as you're healthy and happy, and this is what you love doing. I always laugh when I talk to financial advisors like yourself, Mark, and you've said that to me before and on the show. It's my mom and my grandfather always used to say the cobbler's children have no shoes. Mm-hmm. See, the shoemaker's kids have no shoes. And so, it's funny because I've talked to financial planners like yourself who are 74 and they're giving advice on retiring early. And I'm like, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. You're 74. You're still working full time, and you're telling people how they can retire early. But it's just because of the love of what you do and your health and happiness. And why not? You love helping people. I'm going to be doing the show with you as long as my voice holds out. I'm going to be, doing voiceover work and radio work as long as my voice holds out because I love doing it.
Yeah. Why would I retire from something I love doing? I mean, what would I do next? It makes no sense.
You're not the kind of guy who can just sit around and watch TV all day. Yeah.
If I did, I would die within a couple of months. I really would.
You wouldn't last long. Yeah.
No.
That's true.
Yeah, and I've spent so much time. It's kind of like a doctor and attorney. I spent so much time gathering so much knowledge that I want to use it as long as I can.
Right.
So and there's so many things. Something to come up. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that, or I didn't know that, and now I know it. And it's just amazing. And I think, I think my son is beginning to see that. Something new every day he sees and goes, oh, really? Is that or is that how that works? And he's really gaining that knowledge and experience, working alongside me, and beginning to work with, not only getting the office really running, almost perfectly, but also learning how to be the advisor under the methods of what we're doing and how we do it. So it's really exciting to see that and see his growth. And he seems to love it too, so that's the best part.
That's
really
awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, Mark. It's been a great show, but there are many other things. I know we didn't get to a lot of it. We'll probably talk about it in further shows, but it is important to choose the right financial professional and retirement income planner for your income. How can our listeners get a hold of you and set up that complimentary consultation?
Yeah, so probably the best way, Tony, as I've been mentioning for a good while now, is just going to the website. We have a button. It says schedule an appointment, and when you push that button, my calendar pops up. You choose the day, the time, all of that kind of good stuff. I have evening appointments available. I have occasional Saturday appointments available because a lot of the people that come see us are still working and want to get ready for retirement. So just go to masterplanretire.com, and that green button is right there on the very first page. Very easy to see. It also is a lot of information there, Tony. As you know, we have YouTube videos of not only not every one of these shows over the last couple of years shows. We have podcasts that you can link to on there. Right now you have over 100 of my shows in your pocket if you have a smartphone. It's called Spotify. It's called Amazon. What are some of the other ones? The big podcast. You know who they are, Tony.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Spotify, Amazon, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts.
Yep. So just, I think if you search Retirement Roadmap Radio, try my name as well, Mark Fricks, and you'll have a show in your pocket, every time you want to listen to it. But most importantly, also there's a tab on there, Tony, as you know, for our upcoming workshops. So we're all about education first. Let's learn first and then take those steps. So masterplanretire.com is a great place to go to schedule. That first meeting is a complimentary meeting. It can be a phone call, a Zoom call, face-to-face, depending on where you're at. And so it's really whatever you want. And then it can lead to a second meeting that's also complimentary, where we will run reports for you to show where you're at and where you need to be. And so I think that's really cool. No charge for that either. Also, if you want to just give us a call, 770-980-9262, option 2. 770-980-9262. Option 2 is Carol, and she will be glad to get you on my calendar. And just look forward to seeing you. If you want to take advantage, again, interview me. That's what you do. We didn't get around to all that, but interview me, ask me, the right questions, ask for references. I actually have clients that have given me permission to hand out their information and say, hey, and none of them are related to me, by the way. It's not my mom. It's not my
right.
So these are just clients, and it's a kind of a rotating list, so I'm not just picking the top 3 or whatever. But again, masterplanretire.com, Tony, is a great place to go.
All right, and that does it for today's episode of Retirement Roadmap Radio with our host, Mark Fricks.
And thanks for joining us. We're glad you join us every week. Every week I hear from people that listen to our show, and I'm just amazed at bumping into people saying, hey, I listen to you on the radio or whatever, and it's really cool. Love meeting you. Would love to meet you here as well. But until we see each other again, remember always, plan well and prosper. Have a great day, everybody.